Good morning. Let's go ahead and start. Roll call, please, Jennifer.
Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald,
Une.
Jennifer Finley, Jim Molitor, Carol Langford, Danielle Matt, here, Bing Matt, James Steele Jr.,
Une.
Martin Charlo,
Yep, and Une.
Len Teeth, Lenny Strahan.
Jennifer said she would be in after her tourism meeting. Martin, would you give us a prayer this morning? Catch you with your mouth full here.
Creator today, we're thankful for the snow, thankful for the last month and a half of things that we're supposed to be doing this time of year. Thankful for everyone's safety, traveled up to all those. Prayers for our family, the north, that are doing theirs now. Prayers for the upcoming year. Prayers for all of our friends and enemies and everyone between them.
We do have minutes from January 9th.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, James.
Thank you. I would had a question on Emil's. Was he allowed to do research or not?
Haven't pursued that yet. I gotta get that tomorrow.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the January 9th, 2025 minutes.
Motion by James to approve minutes from January 9th. Second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous.
I'll abstain.
Martin and Danielle abstain. Have an agenda for today? Any additions? Anyone? Don't have any walk-ins? Motion by Martin to approve the agenda with additions. Second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous. Oh. We have a walk-in, Daniel Sherwood wants to talk about the elder check. Daniel Sherwood. Yeah. Morning, Mr. Sherwood, come on in. That's quick.
When you guys help me out, what the reason why I'm here today is about, the elders check. My sister usually has the mail key and she never checks the mail, so I never hear about that. What do we get? My letter till 2 months later. But I really need this check because I pay $900 a month for in Dixon there. And 600 comes out of my Social Security, and now I gotta get 200 out of this one, but I didn't know about the applications that you're supposed to fill out. I never knew that either, because all these elders before you never had to.
Have you received the elder's check before?
No, this is the first year of the elder.
Yeah. Yeah, they've always.
I never
required-
thought I'd make it this far.
So you did an application
I just did today,
today?
'cause I can't get around. I have to hitchhike all over. I don't have a rig. And my sister never checks the mail till like 2 months later or so, and then I get my mail and 2 months later.
I don't know what the deadline on the
It
elder's
was-
check is.
The
It was
24th, I
December
heard.
24th,
Yeah.
and they did send him an application. And I guess he did call accounting, and he wasn't very nice to Wanda and Greg. So
What day did he
What do you
call?
mean, not nice?
that, you said that was.
I just told her that I didn't appreciate, we had to fill out an application or anything. I told her I wasn't mean to her.
That's all, she just told me when I went to go get a checkup before coming in for this issue.
Carol, go ahead.
I have to agree with Danielle, yesterday, what you had to say about this application process. I just think it's totally ridiculous. And I think, people that missed it in the past deserve to get it. What's the point? It's like Tom keeps mentioning about tribal health. I went down there yesterday. I had to fill out a it's like we almost make our people feel like they're criminals. But anyway, Daniel, I feel that,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't understand, maybe somebody can, I think it's been explained to me before why we are doing this. But when you turn 65, it should be just automatic, like a per capita. Anyway, I'll get off.
But it seems like they should have used my mail, not just for my per capitas to, my oldest check. That's what they should have used, because it had that box number for so many years.
Other thoughts? Do you need that executive? So the understanding is that an application is at this present time necessary, and that the application for this payment was due December 20th, 24th? And you didn't talk to anybody before the 24th?
Nope.
Okay.
Now Rhonda told me I wasn't gonna get it till next year, 2026, isn't it? And I'll be 66.
I don't know exactly what to tell you, Junior.
Huh?
Except that we're talking about it. So if we, change the policy,
A lot of the departments change their policy there, which I don't like.
yep, I understand that. And, go ahead, Len.
You know, and I think that when it comes to, providing services to our elders, at least in my opinion, I think it could be discretionary to us. And in situations like this, you know, as Junior mentioned, he's got limited sources. He has no transportation, and just limited on what he can do, you know. So I think just based on his circumstances, I think we just go ahead and move forward and get him the check that he's entitled to, like all the other elders. No, I don't think it's that's what I think anyway. I think we just move forward with that.
Me too.
Any other? Go ahead, Daniel.
I agree with Lynn. I think we move forward with it, and I'm sure there's other elders in this situation, and I would say if they come forward before the end of the month, that we take care of them. Some people didn't know it's available, or that they had to apply, or thought it was automatic, and I think we only ran the ad in one paper, and I know letters did go out, but if they've moved or not updated address, some people may not have received this, and it's already budgeted. It's not like we're pulling money from somewhere where we don't have it. So I think not just for Junior, but anybody else that might be in his situation, I think we give them that through the end of the month to get in here and get their payment.
Do we not know why the application is necessary? Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I don't know why there's an application. Obviously, the database is there if they're sending out a letter to people that are become eligible. I don't know why it's not automatic. My brother, who lives off of $186 a month of Social Security, missed his for 2 years. And I finally got a form filled out for him. But yeah, I don't know why it's not automatic. You just budget for the maximum amount of eligible folks, whether they're, you know, whatever the situation is. I'm sure that's what the budget's for. So if it's there, I don't know why we don't give it out. That's what I would do. I think I agree with Len and Danielle and Carol that we did an ad this year, which was, I think, the first time. I don't recall before, but you know, it's like, yeah, give everybody another month. Try to be as equal as possible for other people that might have missed it. But I don't know why there's an application.
Carol?
If nothing else, why don't we make the date to apply after the send out? Because then that kind of gives people notice or reminder that, wow, there was a check, I better get in there. And I don't know, some people still be late, but at least if you put it a month after for a deadline, then that would be helpful. They can do another run at the end of that month.
Go ahead, Martin.
Mr. Chair, thanks for coming in, Junior. I guess one of the, like, what they were saying about the route thing was that you would cust it, whoever you talked to. I think it was the front desk, person. I don't.
It was Jordan. Then
Yeah, I don't know who, I think it was Jordan Asensio. And so, you know, that, you know, we try to treat our employees as well as we can, and customer service goes both ways. And, some people get really offended by people cussing. And so that would be something that, you know, maybe you know, either just go, you know, she's an understanding person, apologize, or, you know, next time you call, just to keep that in mind that, you know, cussing to our employees is really offensive to people.
Yeah, I have
Some of them, and
respect for
so
that.
that's, you know, and I don't wanna, you know, that's just what was reported to me, so, and I would like to, if we are gonna do something like this, to make it one batch and really have a hard deadline on that. If there is something, I mean, for the ARPA payments, we allowed people who were born at that calendar year to get that payment. So, I mean, that was, yeah.
Thanks for coming down, Wanda. The question we have is, why is there an application?
It's in the policy that there needs to be an application filled out.
It's only the policy.
Mhm.
We can change that.
Well, we have, Mr. Chair, for me, we have Wanda, well, we have Wanda here. What would be if we were gonna give an extra month? I assume one batch of checks at the end of the month would be the easiest thing for your staff to do. For the exceptions of, for the people that missed the deadline or whatever want to get it in the future, or this, yeah.
If you want to make that kind of a motion to have an extra batch ran for people who missed the deadline. The policy does state as long as you turn 65 by the end of the calendar year, which is December 31, you're still eligible to get it. But we just had a deadline of December 24, I think, to have the applications turned in. So there were still people who turned 65 December 31st and December 30th who still got paid because they turned their application in before the 24th.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I don't like to make things complicated, but make it as easy as possible. Obviously, we know the population or the names because a letter went out to those folks that were going to be eligible this year.
Right. They go out the month before.
So we know who we sent them out to, so we know the people that didn't apply.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we just issue them all a check?
Anybody got an answer for that question? Because I sure don't.
Or just change the policy. It's just automatic. If we have that data and information on our population demographics, and just like the per capita, you just, you know, once you're born, you're eligible for dividend checks. Once you're turned 65, and that you're eligible for an elder payment. Is that too simple? I don't know.
That the elder payments are basically automatic. Motion by Danielle. Second by Len to make elder payments not have an application, but actually, what's the right way to state it? So to not have an application and proceed with delivering the check to those who are 65 in the calendar year. Carol?
Why is it the calendar year? Why isn't the date that it's sent out?
We've got to figure it out annually somewhere.
Yeah, but we do the date of the per capita, right? Or is there a deadline? There is
We-
a deadline.
We do
Okay.
it the first work day of the new year.
And people are eligible at a certain time.
Okay,
And so we got to make an eligibility
that makes sense.
timeline, so the calendar
You
year.
do need a deadline for cutting it off, to say they're eligible.
Yeah. December 31 of the year, they get the payment January of the 25 or the next year. I did see your name. I did see your application.
So we have a motion by Danielle, a second by Len to make the elder payment automatic. I would think so. All in favor? Unanimous. get Junior a check?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Thank you,
I sure
Junior.
appreciate you guys' help.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and
Yeah.
bringing it up.
Next time I'll be more meaner.
Oh,
Junior,
Especially with those 49ers.
hey, you can be mean and rude to us, but not our staff.
Okay.
no. Martin, you need executive or open?
I just want to have an update from the enrollment committee ASAP. And I was thinking, you know, honestly, it might be cool to have the vote an entire afternoon and bring the entire committee in, grant them change of duty, and just really sit down and hear them all out. I mean, not all, I mean, hopefully not each and every, I mean, as a group, if any of them have things to say or whatever, I think that'd be easier for them than writing something down and providing a report, because I think some people are better, explain their thoughts better vocally than they do in writing.
Do we have a date? That would be the only question I have.
I would maybe just ask Jennifer to get us an afternoon blocked off on a council day.
We'll check that out. Go ahead, Carol.
Does anybody remember the update on the garbage bags that you can get? Do those still exist to go to the dump?
I was thinking they were doing tags again this year.
They are. Where do you get them? Tom. Okay, thank you. He's at Kicking Horse? Mm.
Oh, we're a couple minutes ahead. If we need a break, we can take a break.
Oh, I
Or-
do have an update on the Carolyn Derglow.
Go ahead.
Let me pull it up here. Okay, it says Carol, I apologize. ARPA has already paid for 24,497 in repairs for Taylor's home. It sounds like Caroline is living with Taylor.
Thank you, Carol. So we can take a few minutes and then we'll get Ruth.
Yeah, that was my understanding too, that, the repairs were beyond the value of the home. This was one of those situations. But since they still couldn't get it fixed, the night, Sunday and Monday, she was requesting, assistance with the room because she has no heat and no water. So I don't think it was a matter of getting the residence repaired. She was just wanting assistance for those 2 days. And I didn't see any problem getting her a room. I mean, especially if you don't got no heat and no water. That was my suggestion to staff, and once again, nobody reached out to her.
Yeah,
Usually in those cases, I'll just suggest to the individual because the dire need needs to hear from them. So I suggest to the individual that, you need to contact this person at dire need. I'll reach out to them, let them know that you're gonna be calling and then give them the number and they can call. And usually Mary Ann or Natalie or anybody will do whatever they can to assist. And I'm just pretty impressed on their abilities sometimes, so.
yeah, I'll just follow up and find out what happened. Well, Melinda's here. Let's go ahead with Melinda. Morning.
Good morning. So, this morning, I am here to, get approval for a project-specific agreement with, Montana Department of Transportation for a pavement preservation project. The project that they haven't named, so, part of it is gonna be on the reservation, but the other part is gonna be in Victor, so it's called US 93 North Victor and South River Valley. And so we're just they're just asking for approval for the portion that's going to be on the reservation. And it's just a project that's, a short little distance. It's going to go from just a little bit north of White Coyote Road to Ravalli, just south of that Windmill Lane. And it's just gonna be a pavement preservation project, so they're gonna be doing like a crack seal, microsurfacing, seal and cover, and some signing and stuff, and rumble strips. And, they plan to let it out for bid, this summer, with construction expected to occur in 2025 or 2026. And there is a map of, I think, the project on. There's just those pages? Okay. Oh, yeah, I did send it, so. But, yeah, it's just a little short. It goes just, north of White Coyote Road to Ravalli.
6.5 miles, it says.
What was that?
It says 6.5 miles.
6.5 miles.
Questions? Motion by Martin. Approve the project. Agreement. Second by Bing. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Melinda.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it will start like just probably like right about here.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Melinda's here. Oh, there's the map. Melinda, the whole Polson West development and the impacts to Highway 93 there west of Polson Bridge. Do you have any discussions yourself with MDOT on that?
On their corridor study that they're doing?
Well, they're really really trying to push us to take care of their congestion problems with the Rocky Point turnoff.
Yeah.
And then Airport Road and how we access the new casino site off Airport Road.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wondered if you had any insight on that at all.
No, I guess we've talked about it in our monthly meetings, and I do believe that they, are in discussion with, like our staff about it. So, that's probably about as much as I know right now, but we have discussed it in our monthly meetings and like the casino development and stuff like that, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's where it's gonna start, just north right there of that White Coyote Road to Ravalli. So, And then I will come up and get your signature on this PSA to Mike. And I guess the other thing that also wanted to mention is that, so it's 2025 and we have an memorandum of understanding or MOU with MDT. And so that MOU is going to be up for, I guess, renewal this year. And so it is the MOU that these PSAs are part of. So just want to let you guys know if you guys have anything, that MOU is going to be up for negotiation this year. I think it's in June is when it needs to be renewed. So I guess the only thing that I have that people have talked about is that the contractors. So part of our MOU with MDT is that our contractors, they don't get preference unless they're part of the disadvantaged businesses with the state. So that was always a concern that I had, but that is part of our MOU with the MDT right now. So our tribal members get preference for employment, but just not the contractors unless they're part of their disadvantaged businesses for the state. So just want to let you guys know that that is coming up in June. So that was a concern that I had on that MOU.
Go ahead, Martin.
Are you working with anybody in legal on that?
So I haven't heard anything yet if the state has submitted anything, but when the last time it did come around, we did talk about it a little bit, but it stayed the same. So when they do bring it to me again, I'll bring that up too. So
It was my understanding that they're gonna ask for 10-year memo this time instead of just 5.
so yeah, so that would be another change. That would probably be the only change that they're gonna
Yeah,
propose then. So
get that preference. What? Go ahead, Len.
I think this would be a great opportunity for us to add language in this MOU to that the MDOT director meet with the tribal council on a quarterly basis to give us updates on projects and to see where we're at with the Highway 93 concerns that we continuously bring up. We want to know where they're at in their planning to address those issues. So, and I know sometimes we all can't agree to a date on a quarterly basis, but I think I should be in there, so we should at least make that attempt because those flaws in the Highway 93 project is something that we need to continue to follow up on and making sure that they're planning to fix those and where they're at in the plan. So
I'm wondering if anybody's done any research on compacting with the Department of Transportation and if that would have any effect on our relationship with the state. Be nice to know some of that, but I don't know if we've got anybody working on that at all. This is, yeah, but the compacting is with the federal government, and I just don't know how they would interact. A lot of federal money comes to the state to fix our roads. So,
all right, yeah, that was just something else I wanted to bring up. So, but I'll bring this up so I can get your signature on it, Mike. And
Sounds good.
I'll also be probably coming in later for a PSA for Post Creek. So just a heads up, probably next week or so.
Thank you, Melinda. Morning, Ruth. Come on in.
So you must have noticed that these are resolutions to adopt spending authority for 25. These were overlooked in our budget process. Did not detect that until a couple programs had some questions. So my oversight entirely, proudly and openly admit to that. But I was surprised that nobody else caught on to it except Mr. Chairman's question about a typo in the one resolution, exchanging a period for a comma. So thankful for that. Glad that you do review those in detail. So approve this spending authority. These are non-appropriated programs. So they're not being appropriated any tribal revenue. They all create their own revenue to spend. So the authority is to hold them to that, to their actual in facts, because they are just estimating, especially large amounts like Quicksilver. Quicksilver is estimating an annual operating revenue based probably on their historic. So theirs is the larger one there. Tribal credit is not quite a spending authority per se, but it is an actual operating budget based on needs. So for those four that we're asking that for, just to try to clarify that. All of them have accumulated revenue as well. So this is not just the only revenue that they're talking about for the fiscal year. In particular, Gray Wolf Park, as you know, has been in existence for quite a while. So they have accumulated revenue, and as well as the daycare center. Any other questions or comments about that?
I always wonder how many folks are tribal in the trailer park.
It's a good question. My understanding is Economic Development's Janet Camel had been managing that once we had acquired it, and it has recently been turned over to tribal lands. And when we, of course, took it, when we purchased it from the tribal members, it was already occupied, of course. They did grandfather in the current residents, but I could not say anything beyond, what's currently going on. 0 tribal members. Well, you guys know more than me. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. And I understood there was possibly a question about the Quicksilver operating revenue. And I see Mr. Sias is coming on right after me. That'd probably be a question for him. I didn't get a chance to look at their most recent audit to give you that. So that would be my response if I could see that.
We got 4 resolutions here, right?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Martin.
Hypothetically, the ECS daycare, that operates on a profit, right? I mean, not profit, but they make more than they pay for
They do.
operating?
I looked back at it actually for a while at the request of the program. And for most years, they do have revenue over their expense. They did benefit from ARPA funding through DHRD's childcare program, where they made substantial grants under their stabilization funds that they were awarded in 2021. So that is part of why they are in a cash over position currently, besides their regular operating.
Go ahead, Martin.
So are kids that have like block grant eligible to, can they pay that to them? So wouldn't it be profitable for the tribe to open up some daycare?
Ooh, well, I'm not in charge of that function, but the only one that we're talking about is the one that is right there. That is the sole daycare that they're currently operating. Just observation, from people that I know, searching for childcare is can get pretty intense. It depends on where you live. The southern areas of the reservation are not as, I guess, there's not a lot of
facilities and services available. I frankly don't know what people do with infants. That's probably the harder one. And there's very limited space in the tribal program that we do have. It is.
We have a resolution for spending authority for fiscal year 2025 for early childhood services daycare centers. Motion by Martin. Second by Danielle. All in favor? Unanimous. Our next one is, we got next.
Like Quicksilver.
Spending authority for fiscal year 2025 for Quicksilver Express. Motion by Danielle. Second by Len. All in favor? Unanimous. Then we have spending authority for Gray Wolf Park for 2025. Motion by Bing. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? Unanimous. And finally, spending authority for operating budget for the tribal credit program for 2025. Motion by Martin. Second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you. We'll bring these in this August on a more timely schedule.
Tom, got a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess, Ruth, on our agenda today, there's a request to add 16 new positions and move a few things around down in tribal health. And I didn't know that was, I don't know what the impact that is to the budgets or, you know, our third-party revenue or any of that stuff, especially with Medicaid, expanded Medicaid maybe dropping away. So I just wondered if you were aware of that and if you could assess any of that or when Joe presents.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. What I'm understanding is we're in a procedure that Personnel Department is utilizing where they are approving positions when the organization chart is changed. So I think we're getting the sequence of steps in a kind of in a way that it raises these questions. To me, if you're managing a function and you're planning for that and you are going to plan to add or change positions, well, part of your plan needs to address whether you have resources to do that. I mean, why would you plan for something that is not paid for? So I would infer that if it's not being covered by the compact, it has to be covered in third party. Right now, their compact budget is entirely taken up with current positions. So if they have already requested those in the third party, then they're in the budget for the amount that they currently have authorized. If these are in addition, then I would have to see what he's mapped out and how personnel has set any pay ranges for them to know what the cost for the positions are. Sounds like a lot of positions. With council now approving org charts, what was happening before was departments approved their own org charts. I didn't see the changes until they requested budget, but in most cases, it still wasn't relevant as far as you still only have an amount of funding available. So you can create and add all the positions you choose and even add them to your chart, but they're going to remain vacant because you don't have resources to fill them. I'm not sure which is the better option, but you know, regardless, always within resources available. And in third parties case, as you've authorized.
Thank you, Ruth.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Morning, Corky. Come on up.
Okay, my mic's on. Here today, I'm here to get approved our signature authority to update our account at Eagle Bank. And so we added the new four individuals, or the new individuals to the signature authority list, and we just needed update for Eagle Bank and for Greg, so.
Question for Corky? Go ahead, James.
Mr. Chair, we had some messages from tribal member wondering why, you probably heard from the same person, wondering why we cut back services in Arlee, 4:30 in the morning, or 6:40 in the morning bus and 4:30 in the evening. Wondering why the service had been cut back at those time frames in Arlee.
So currently we do the 5:30, which has always been in place. The 6:40 was in place, but nobody was riding the bus. And so that's why we hadn't went back. In the policy before, and it has been since I believe '09, is that the policy would take 4 people to ride that bus so we could start that service back up. We try to encourage, we try to talk to other people that's called us, and they, when we get a ride at 6:40, you know, and it just never pans out to be even 2 people. I mean, we could do the service with 2 people, but we just don't have, we have one individual that asked, and then last time we did this, we set up the ride, go to clear to Grey Wolf, and by the time 3 weeks was done, we had one rider going back and forth, and they would call in sick, so we have a driver going from, at that time, from Mission to Grey Wolf, no ridership, and it just kept going on, so we ended up having to cancel that part of the ridership too. So if we could get 4 people to ride at 6:40, that'd be great, we could do that. But right now, we didn't have any, and at 4:30, there was nobody going back. I mean, Rick would take one person to Mission, and then that'd be his last rider. It was nobody going to Arlee at that time, I mean, at this time, so. We're pretty open to trying to set rides up if we need to, so, have them call me. I mean, Leanne does a great job for us, trying to get that set up, but nobody rides, it's kind of hard to keep doing that.
Yeah, thanks, Corky.
You bet.
Daniel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Corky, your team does a great job. I just have a question and maybe some clarity. I've got a few people that say, I asked them, why don't you ride transportation? Why don't you get a ride from transportation to the food bank? And their response is, well, they won't wait for me while I'm there, or they have a 2-bag limit and they get mad when I have 3 or 4 boxes. And I assisted somebody set up a ride one day. They were going to Walmart to get groceries. And I was reminded, or the rider was reminded at that time, it's a 2-bag limit. Make sure they don't have more than 2 bags with them. But some of them, that's a long ride from Hot Springs or wherever they're coming from to make that trip. So I just want to understand why there's the limit there, so I can help explain that to people, or.
Well, sometimes when we've had this happen, where they bring a whole basket in, and if we had other riders, and if they're in a minivan, there's not that much room for them, so that's why we had the limit. I guess, I wish they could say, hey, you know, I need to get 4 bags this time, or we had an individual even get a TV, and we didn't have no room to even strap it down, so we get hit by all sides, that sometimes we can't, secure this stuff in a vehicle. And if something had to slam on their brakes, you don't want nothing flying through the air. So we're really limited on those buses of how much we can take and how much we can secure down. So that's where our limitations are at. If they can keep the bags with them, that's great, but you know, still things can fly around, and we're just trying to be the safety part of it. I've talked to other transits, most of them have a 2, 3, 4 bag limit on other transits too, so we're all kind of in the same boat, because we don't have no way to secure that. And if you if we have a wheelchair lift in the back, you can't secure to that. I mean, it's just a tough situation I know and I'd like to see them have 6 bags, but we don't have no way to secure that. And that's a safety issue.
I appreciate you helping me understand that, because I wasn't sure quite what to tell them. Now I've got an answer.
You bet. And I just talked to him
Appreciate
outside, and so he said he's living in Dixon. I said, well, if there's any issues, make sure you get a hold of us, and I will work it out if if our dispatchers can't.
It was not
Okay,
Junior today, but it was another
Yeah, I
lady,
was just talking to him about
she was
it.
asking me for a ride, and I said, call transit. She's
Yeah.
like, And so, no, but I
Sometimes
understand
it's a
it better.
bigger box and we can't secure. That's the biggest safety thing, and I don't want nothing to happen with, slamming on a brake or turning a corner and tips over, and so we're really trying, that's our biggest thing, is the safety part of it.
Awesome, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Sure.
I'm wondering if box is the only thing they can pack that stuff in. It seems like there's other things they could use, but anyway, that's not my question. I've got a call from an individual's mom. This individual was intoxicated and riding on the bus, and you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I told the mom, I said, she needs to, if she's got, medical issues, or she's got, psychological issues, or if she's intoxicated, most likely she needs to call tribal health. So do you guys refer people to tribal health that need more of a medical transport than they do just transportation?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
We talk with Char a lot, so we can interchange that part of it, but, I don't know what happens after that, so, I leave it up to our drivers if somebody is intoxicated. If they get on the bus, I mean, it's up to them to say, I can take you by your means by themselves. Most of the time they will, but I have some drivers that will say, no, I'm not gonna do that. They're recovering. They don't want to have an issue with that. So I totally back them up, and it's kind of up to them, and we kind of know who the individual is, and I try to talk with them as much as possible. I've even got into a van and drove them, so they wouldn't be there. Tell you one story. One time I gave a guy right up past Job Corps, I had to stop at Ace Hardware coming back. This guy beat me from that house at Job Corps all the way back to Quicksilver. He was sitting back in front of the store when I got back. So, and I already gave him a ride out there once, so it was kind of odd, but we try to work with individuals that have been intoxicated or smell like their alcohol, and it's completely left up to the driver unless they need me to come down, but usually they don't. It's up to the individual drivers that have this. So we try to work with tribal health as much as possible. We tell them who the individual is and then see if they can work with them and giving them a ride.
How about the 86 comment? Would that be a true statement or not, that you 86 somebody or not?
Not if they were just intoxicated the one time. No one hasn't caused any trouble on our vehicles. No, we don't 86. The 86 comes when somebody gets on the phone and telling everybody the bad words and yelling at them, screaming at them, and I try to talk to them. My dispatchers automatically will transfer the phone to me because I said, I will talk to the individual. And when they're screaming and yelling at you, there's not much you can do. And I said, why don't you call back tomorrow or call back later in the week and we can discuss this? And they usually don't, but that's what happens. My dispatchers, they don't like being cussed out on the phone and being yelled at. So that's why I'm there. So
I kind of figured that out, and I also think that this individual probably does that a lot, and it's a safety issue. I mean, you've got to take the high road when it comes to safety. So, and I told him that. I said, you need to make sure that this person is within their full capacity, because
Right.
otherwise, she could jump out, she could do almost anything.
in an instance like this, when we have them all, we have other individuals where we encourage where a family member or a friend can ride with them. That's for free, that we don't charge for the extra person to ride, and that's for an elderly family member or a friend can ride with them. If somebody's with them and can help them, we do that, and that's a free ride, that we don't charge that person to ride with them for that instance, so we can get them to their appointment or home or wherever they're going, but we encourage them to bring somebody and we don't charge that.
So we have an authorization of signatures, an update of authorization of signatures for Quicksilver Express gas station resolution. Motion by Tom. Second by James. Go ahead, Martin. What's your question?
Shouldn't it have all the names on there who we're changing it to? Like,
It's on the resolution that I have in front of me.
The names Corky Sias, Jennifer
Yes.
Gates, Leandria.
Cutfinger and Patricia
and
Cushing.
Patricia. All in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day, and I'm sure welcome anyone of you guys to come up if you have issues. Come and talk to us and we'll try to work our best. We know there's individuals out there that just can't get a ride, and and it's tough. Sometimes we go clear to Dixon and they're not there, you know, I mean, we try to do our best and we encourage that with all of our workers and, you know, so we try to work, but if we don't catch it, please help us out and come and talk to us. Okay, thank you.
Happy
Have a
New
good
Year.
day.
Don, Steve. Good morning. Happy New Year.
Morning.
Morning, Chairman and council members. We come to you today because, CSKT is hosting the 48th Annual Intertribal Timber Symposium in the first week of June, June 2nd through the 5th. We are expecting about 350 to 400 participants at this event. It will be at the University of Montana. We tried to have it on the reservation, but because of limited hotels, limited space, our next option was to do it at the university. However, we are going to have some field days where people will be able to come onto our reservation. For instance, on Wednesday, we're having a tribal tour day. They're going to come up and tour our bison range, tour our greenhouses. We've received I think it's about little over $4 million for expansion of our greenhouses, which includes a state-of-the-art white bark pine greenhouse. So we're gonna highlight some of that and some of our awesome stuff that all of our different departments are doing. We're gonna have some shuttle buses and kind of, as they drive through the reservation, kind of explain the different things that are going on. For instance, like the wildlife corridors and some burning and stuff like that. So the symposium, there is a cost associated with that. There's a budget on page 2 that I came up with, which the total is $65,000, and we're here today to ask for funding to assist with that cost. Any questions?
Questions or thoughts? Go ahead, Len.
Just out of curiosity, but any reason why we didn't consider having it at SKC? And I understand that there's limited motel rooms, but, Kalispell is only 45 minutes, Missoula is only an hour, you know?
Yeah, the issue is, so we're having it June 2nd through the 5th, and that's when they're in their last week of schooling.
Oh, okay.
Which wasn't the ideal week, but that was the only week that we could get hotels in Missoula to work with us. The problem with that would be we would have to have shuttle buses every day if we were to host it at the college. And those shuttle buses run $5,000 to $7,000 a day per bus. So if that was the case, it would be a lot more expensive trying to transport 350 people to the college every day. But that was an option that we considered. Like, we had many discussions about this. Steve was very adamant. He did not want it off res. And I'm like, I don't blame you, Steve, but I'm running out of options here.
Yeah, we tried working with Quatucknuck, and they have summer rates and they have winter rates, and their summer rates came into effect prior to the event, and they're pretty much booked up, and they weren't willing to or able to give us the rate that would make it affordable for the attendees to attend this at the Quatucknuck, and plus the amount of people that we were expecting was exceeding their capacity to host those folks in our sessions and our dinners and everything else that's involved with the event. So we tried the best way, tried to have workarounds, tried to work with the local motels, and it just didn't work out. So once we looked at Missoula and looked at the facility, it's all going to be centrally located in the student union, and possibly, I think we're using the Indian Center there also.
No,
And we're not using that?
no, we're
Okay.
not using it, no.
Okay, but we're gonna offer, so it's, the campus is vast, a lot of different things to look at. And it's centrally located where there's food and, other items, for drinks and stuff like that. They can go down and, between breaks and stuff. So it's kind of handy and it's kind of a neat place. But we are, on Monday, we have workshops, for individuals that are gonna bring some folks up this way if they choose so. And then on Wednesday, we're just gonna have the scheduled field trips so they can at least come onto the reservation and see what we're about up here. We have a lot of our staff, including NRD people, Office of Preservation and Forestry staff that are gonna be speaking and presenting and having breakout sessions. So a lot of what our knowledge base is gonna be presented during this event.
I will add that, the hotel spaces in Polson are small, so one thing we considered was what if we limited the amount of participants to this, which we would have been under 200. But the thing there is if we do that, the money that comes in from this symposium, it supports our students and the Truman Picard Scholarship. So it would be taking money from our students. We didn't want to do that. So that's also a reason why we decided on Missoula.
Martin, go ahead.
Are you gonna be providing any educational material or something regarding our ties with that area and our history with Missoula Valley and the Bitterroot Valley?
Yeah, so Steve, Tony, Katie, they're gonna be doing the tribal presentation on Tuesday, the first official day of the symposium, where they'll be talking about what we do, our background. Monday, we have a workshop. Tim Ryan at the college, he's gonna be doing some using dog bane to make different basketry type stuff. He's got a couple students that will be assisting him. We also have a few of our natural resource departments that will be presenting on different projects we're working on, different highlights of the tribe. And then, like I said, when we do the tribal tour, we're really gonna talk a lot about our accomplishments, and I'm gonna reach out to our IDT team to make sure that I get input from other departments so that it's not just the forestry, fire, that we make sure that we get the highlights of what Doer's doing, what Lands is doing, what NRD. So even like when we go to the bison range, they're gonna be talking a lot about and highlighting a lot of the stuff that we're doing with the America the Beautiful grant and some of the fundings that we receive from that and how we plan on spending it. So, yeah, I definitely, that's a main topic, is to highlight a lot of the accomplishments that CSKT has done over the years. And we're really one of the top tribes. I mean, when it comes like for forestry, we have the best data out there other than any other agency, regardless whether you're Forest Service, BLM, nobody out there has the data that forestry has. We have 10-inch resolution of LiDAR within our entire reservation. We were working on even getting better data with some stuff we're working on with some drones and TLS terrestrial LiDAR scanners with the Fire Lab. And with that project, we're going to have a state-of-the-art fire risk map within our ancestral land space. So yeah, that's kind of the thing we're gonna be talking about, like CSKT is doing some really cool stuff.
Go ahead, Ming, and then James.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, what Sean's saying here is very true. A lot of these tribes that go to this symposium really looks up to CSKT. CSKT is probably a leader of this ITC group. And they're, like I stated, they're really looked up to a lot. You know, we have Jim Durglow. You know, he's been on there for a long time, and he has a lot of background of what goes on with this ITC group and also with forestry. You know, and Sean, you know, he works a lot with the students down there that for their college degrees and whatnot, you know, and last year I think it was the biggest one that they've had so far, you know, and they had quite a few that got scholarships and whatnot. And this organization really helps these kids out a lot, you know, and then here with the ones that are going to school here, pretty much all go on to somewhere to go to work, you know, and what they've been doing with the students here, getting ready for forestry and whatnot, you know, it's something to hear from these kids that talk about after they get their diplomas and whatnot, you know, that what they gotta say. But it's really interesting to hear these kids, you know, and what Sean and Jim and all them do for our tribe, you know, and being looked up to like they are from the other tribes, you know, is something else. And I'm really proud to be involved with this. You know, these people that are in this ITC group are really intelligent people. There are a bunch of intelligent people that are in this group, you know, and it's good to be involved with them because you hear a lot of things that never thought of ever hearing something from them guys. But it's good to hear, you know, that you know, being part of this and whatnot. And you know, I really wholeheartedly support Sean and Steve and forestry up here with what they're doing. And it's too bad that we don't have the facilities to put this on, you know, because if you could just see the amount of people that come here, that one year we had it down over in Eastern Band of Cherokees, and that hall in there was packed with the people that attended that conference that year. You know, I mean, it was something else to see, you know, that, and Eastern Band of Cherokees, they have a big place to have these things, you know, over there, conference rooms up to wherever you gotta go there, they have, you know, but here we just don't have that, you know, and it's one of these days, hopefully we will have something like this, but, you know, it's good to be these guys supporting, you know, gonna put this on, you know, for CSKT, you know, and it's because for them to show what they're doing here. And I'm sure that they're going to have a full house here because everybody that you talk to talks about CSKT and what they're doing and, you know, what they want to see over here. So, especially with the lake is a big thing, whatnot. So it's going to be quite a conference, I'm sure. So, you know, I commend Sean and Steve and them for doing all the work that they do with this, and it's going to be a big deal for them this go around. So I think I got to commend them. They're got off on the right foot anyway.
Go ahead, James.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I support the request. I think it's important when we have these opportunities, we get to showcase all the different things that forestry is doing and the tribes are doing in general. So I got participants from all over the country. So I definitely support the request.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are you guys seeking any other sponsors?
That's tough. ITC is always neutral, so they don't want, and when a sponsor wants to sponsor something, they want to highlight their name, right? So I've had a couple people reach out to me and like, hey, how can we help? And it's difficult because how do I accept that, but then at the same time not promote that organization or entity? One option that we're looking at is the Wilderness Society is possibly able to help with the, on Wednesday during the tribal tour, we're going to be providing lunches. And they're possibly going to help with the lunches on that day, which would be probably around $7,000 if you figure, 350 people, well, probably only like 250 will go on the tour at $15 an hour or $15 a lunch. But so that was one thing that Laura said is if it's something that just the tribe's doing, we could possibly get sponsorship, but we want to make sure that we are kind of neutral at that. Because otherwise, I probably could get a lot more sponsorship, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, generally, there's a call that goes out to the bigger tribes, timber tribes, to sponsor like a break, for the snacks in between or a lunch or something like that. So there is other avenues of revenue that do come into the organization to pay for some of the functions that happen during the symposium. Also, there's a membership cost. Every tribe that's a member of this has to pay dues. So that goes into the accounts too for this also. So there are other avenues for revenue to help put this on and pay for a lot of this stuff, but there's always an expectation that the host tribe has a somewhat of a larger contribution to the event because it's a volunteer thing. And we volunteered to do this about 3 or 4 years ago. They put it on their planning session, and it's actually like 5 or 6 years ago now since COVID happened and they didn't have a few of the symposiums. The next one's going to be in Menominee. I think that's Wisconsin or Michigan. Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was.
And then, then it goes on. And last year was in Cherokee, North Carolina. Before that was in Ocean Shores, Oregon. So, I mean, it's just, we are on the list. We volunteered several years ago. So there is somewhat of an expectation that the host tribe, by volunteering to do this, is eligible or able to help support the funding of the symposium.
Mr. Chair, that begs the question then, did you put it in your budget request? Since this was planned out 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I wouldn't know. So I guess I could take a look at that and see if there was a budget item for that. I'm assuming there might have been. I don't know for sure.
Well, I guess if there was, you wouldn't be here right now, right? So I guess here's my dilemma. Is that I support, if this was on the reservation, it'd be hands down, I'd be all about it. But it's the economic wealth of this, the stuff is all off reservation basically. So the economic gain is that. But I support I'll vote for it. But what I'd like to ask council about is if I come in here and say I want to host AT&I in Missoula because we don't have big enough facilities here, because that's our limiting factor. We don't have big enough facilities. If we're going to start hosting conferences in Missoula, and I certainly wouldn't want to do it in Kalispell, but Missoula is a good venue, that council would also support that.
Carol?
Well, we've done other conferences in Missoula, Native American Fish and Wildlife Society. I don't know how long ago that was, probably 40 years ago. But we have, and I'm in support of this. And I hear Tom.
Could we have our tribal casino help sponsor it, or our corporations, or, I mean, that's us, right? I mean,
Well, that's, again, I think excuse me, Mr. Chair, they're trying to be neutral. And so it was just our workshop. I guess we could have whatever we want, but because it's the collective, You're only gonna ask individual tribes to sponsor stuff like Steve said. Yeah, it's still your money. It's just a redirect of your money.
Cody?
No, that's what I was gonna try to come up, suggest and see if we can get, or if they can get approval for the budget request pending, reaching out to our S&K corporations or enterprises to see if they can, sponsor that, because I think Sean's referring to the sponsorship of really outside tribal organizational type sponsors will say, you know, yeah, I mean, any Husqvarna, any other outside entity that may want to sponsor and then have a footprint within the tribal organization for any reason. But I think reaching out to our enterprises is a good option, and I think that's something we can definitely do.
So the way some of these outside entities do contribute to this is they buy tables and booth space, and so they have an area where they are set up, and the people that participate or attend this can go out and look at their wares and whatever. So they're paying us to be able to have a table or booth out there. So that's some other extra way that they generate revenues.
Right?
Sorry, man.
We should have gotten a hotel for our casino.
Well,
Had to throw it out there.
I guess, Mr. Chair, since you put in for it 2-3 years ago.
It was not 2 or 3 years ago we didn't put in for it,
Oh.
but yeah. So we
They said,
we were nominated. We volunteered at least 5 years ago now, and I think it's been within last year's budget. I think we should have put the request in, the additional request for this year, which it just slipped past my mind, and it was an oversight on me that I didn't remind them to do that part of it. But yeah, I mean, when I was in that position there, it kept getting pushed back, and so I didn't put it within the budget because it wasn't for the next year's FY fiscal year yet. So.
yeah, I just, pre-planning, sorry, Mr. Chair. If you know ahead of time, you can book those motel rooms. You can book every motel room in Polson if you know the event and you're a year ahead of it. You can also, get the college, if you can figure out the time and get an acceptable position. But that's all I think I would really encourage us to try to do it. Like, the obvious, try to do it on our own landscape with our own business. But I support it. I just want to make sure that if I'm just not aware of other ones, I know the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society ones that I was involved with were all here on the res. But I'm not sure what Carol's referring to. But if there was some other ones, I know we did one with, it was actually through NCAI down in Missoula, and the former attorney here asked for a donation to host like this, a meal and stuff like that. After it was already planned, it was like a couple weeks out. You guys remember that one? Yeah. Huh? No, not Pat. It was, yeah. She works over for AT&I now. Stacy Keene came in, yeah. But that was a workshop down in Missoula. But yeah, I support it. I'm just trying to, try to figure out what our ramifications are, how we can make it even better the next time. So, thank you.
Set up a bunch of teepees.
Well, you can set up tents. You can do that kind of thing. Yeah.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Carol to support the symposium. Second by Bing. All in favor? Looks unanimous. Thank you, Sean. Steve?
All right, well, thank you very much. I'm going to just take this quick opportunity. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock out at Fire Management in the conference room, we're having our monthly IDT interdisciplinary NEPA meetings. with the other resource individuals, we all get together, start talking about how we're working on our NEPA projects, trying to push things forward. And and I know an invite goes out to you guys in an email, but I would just like to encourage any participation, that if anybody would like to join us tomorrow at 9 o'clock, just to kind of get a idea of how things are moving along in our NEPA process. I know Mike's part of our FAC, and Bing and then Bing and Mr. McDonald are on our the ITC board. Tom as a alternate. Did you know that, Tom? I just found that I got paying the
Didn't know
dues
that.
for us right now. So Bing and you are on the alternative list. So anyway, just so if you're interested in coming down tomorrow at the fire at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Martin?
Apologize, can't make it. Both elders are meeting tomorrow, I believe. SQCC and KCC.
Yeah, it's gonna affect our
You've
participation
got
for sure.
competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been kind of a conflict, and we're trying to adjust that. All the other departments are trying to send representatives to both. So we're in the morning, and then we're trying to set our time, our involvement with KCC tomorrow in the afternoon. So we're trying to work that out too, and make sure that we have representation at both.
So we do meet the third Wednesday of each month. You guys are always welcome to attend. I would like to also thank you, for this opportunity, and put out an invite if you guys are interested in joining this symposium. I highly encourage it. Monday, the first Monday of the month of June, we're having our Monday workshops. We're gonna have a workshop that's highlighting the incredible stuff that we're doing with LiDAR, with the fire lab, with Northwest Management, and the monies that we've received from the fire folks at Boise. Mark Jackson and Aaron Baldwin has been such a huge help with us. And like I said before, you know, we have a state-of-the-art inventory that's just unprecedented with any other agency. We are number one when it comes to the data that we have. So it'll be a really good workshop. But it'll be all day on that Monday if you're interested in attending. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Happy New Year. And our agenda says it's time for a break. Break until 10:30. Well, come on up, Michelle. Let's kick her back in gear here.
Esquex, Husuquitnam. I'm here for our org chart approval. That was hard to say. Two changes. The first one is I am adding back to my org chart under Project Aware, program assistant. When I first wrote the grant and we got it funded, it was under there, but I never did fill the position. And so I made the mistake of taking it off. I will never take off a position that I add now, so I don't have to go through this because they can't even benchmark the position until it's on my org chart. And so here we are. I'm fully staffed and we need the program assistant for Project Aware. And so that's the first change. The second change is under 3 chiefs. We wrote a small grant to get a part-time curation technician to support Jerry. And what we're doing is we're taking our entire collection and putting it in a digital software called Past Perfect. And she has technology skills, but someone that's better trained in the technology would go faster and support her in that way. And so that's what the grant is for. That is what the 2 changes are to my org chart.
Question?
Yeah, so there's no fiscal impacts. These positions are already in your budget or be funded with the grant.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I had a motion from Carol. Who wants the second? Second by Tom. All in favor? It's unanimous.
All right, thank you.
Check out an org chart. Another org chart. Come on up, Joe. Morning.
Good morning, Happy New Year. I believe I sent a list of org chart changes. Those are,
Sorry, Joe. It was a tough one.
I was in here on last Tuesday. Told him I had that dusted off my big number one hand with high hopes of bringing that in and kind of sharing with the U of M fans, but I didn't get to do that. It was a sad evening, sad, cold evening.
I
in
reminded him
Frisco.
how many championships each team has.
See what you started? It was 30 degrees and a little breezy. And I don't think we had a game that cold in Bozeman this year. Yeah, thanks, Martin. It was sad.
Time warp, I missed a week, so yeah.
Next year.
I think we're ready.
Okay.
Go ahead,
So-
Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess before I get started, Joe, I just, there's quite a bit of stuff here. I just wonder why this isn't in a health committee meeting.
I can bring it to the health committee. Some of these are a follow-up to the budget. Sorry, some of these are a follow-up to the budget request I had probably about 3 weeks ago. So I came in and asked for approval for an additional budget and third party. So this is the org chart change that accompanies those. So we've had the discussion around many of these before. Maybe some additional information that might be helpful. Some of these we had asked for a budget increase because we had not heard back from that the healthcare fund for future generations. That committee that was meeting at the state level for the opioid response money. So we have received that grant from the state to support some of these positions also. And then the other position is going to be funded by go down this, I can't move down this. We also received additional grant from the Montana Healthcare Foundation to fund some behavioral health positions for the school liaison, the number 28, 29, and 30, I believe, will be funded by the grant from Montana Healthcare Foundation to support a project with the schools where we provide behavioral health services to the schools. Mission and Charlotte, I think, I believe our initial schools will be in. I think we're trying to working on expanding that, but that'll take some time for us to develop that particular program, get into the schools. So again, for the most part, these are the org chart changes that follow the funding request that you approved about a month ago, I think. Mostly to support the expansion of the intensive outpatient that we have planned for the 128, they're called, the property in Polson, the hotel property. So these will support, these will create those positions to begin that program. As you can see, many of them are changes, just kind of a change in title and change in to try to match the title to the actual work we're asking them to do. I think Dr. Fox is changing her behavioral health provider to a behavioral health professionals. I think that creates some flexibility for her to either do a CD or a mental health provider, depending on what kind of applicants we get in the pool. There are some positions we added to support expanded services in the Elmo community, the CHR and the transportation provider. After meeting with the Kootenai Culture Committee, they indicated that there was additional need for transportation support and staffing in that community. So we added positions to support that. And then there is the addition of the optical technician. So we have the optical offices in both communities staffed full-time. So we're not 2 days a week in Polson, 2 days a week in Mission. There'll be someone in one of those offices full-time, so we can better manage kind of the workflow there. And then there's the additional positions we have added again to support the Medicaid, Medicare Part B program implementation. So there'll be some healthcare benefits resource staff to help with those applications and creating that Medicare B reimbursement.
Other questions for Joe? Go on.
Joe, where were you gonna house all these positions?
Some of them are changes, so we've got them on staff already. The additional behavioral health staff, we anticipate using the Flathead Lake Inn property or the Logan Health clinic property. The optical tech will just, one tech will occupy the Polson office, one tech will occupy the Mission office, and then the provider will kind of move back and forth. Yeah.
So
the 16 new positions, I guess, which ones of them are reimbursable? I mean, which ones are billable? Which ones are that kind of positions? Are they all, or are there none, or?
The providers are billable.
Okay.
And the optical tech, I think we can bill for some of those services when they do a fitting for a set of glasses. But the behavioral health professionals are billable.
And so then for the behavioral health new positions, they all have, do you have measurable standards and goals, or what the expectations are for those?
There are. Dr. Fox could kind of better explain what those measures are, what those expectations are. I can certainly make her available to answer those questions. But yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, you put those on your, because you're the only one that does this, Joe, and I appreciate it. I mean, you come in with in our health committee meetings, and you have a dashboard, you have information, and I really appreciate that. So I guess I just wanted to make sure, trying to make every position accountable, and trying to make sure we're getting the best bang for our hard fought dollars and our third party revenue, and thinking about Medicaid expansion maybe going away or being modified to some extent. And so it becomes really worrisome, to see an expansion or see things, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody's working as hard as they can.
Yeah, the number I share is kind of a division total. I guess the conversations or the expectations that Dr. Fox has with her staff is kind of a lower level. Again, she can better speak to those measures, but yeah, I mean, this is something that was part of the conversation when we were presenting at those committee hearings. Big Sky Fund for Future Generations. Anyway, that committee meetings, we understood that their recommendations made the assumption that Medicaid expansion continued. So those were part of the conversation. So it's interesting where we're at now, that maybe all that work that commission did over years is at risk, because a lot of their recommendations and projects that they funded relied on access to Medicaid. So
Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm glad Dr. Fox is one of our own. I think she really gets it and understands the behavioral health part of it, and the changes that you can see she's making are impressive. And it's about time. It's about time that we get this program up and so it meets the needs of these people that we're all struggling to help and try to do what we can. But this is just another one of those, was at one point, I think, a siloed department, but now it's all fitting in with the courts and with all of the other programs that it really needs to. And I'm just really impressed with her ability and given her that opportunity to be able to lead that program, because I think she's really, really good. So thank you, Joe.
I agree, and Dr. Fox clearly has a vision about where she wants the program to be going forward. She's spoken to us a bit about the intensive outpatient, the necessity for that, and then again, she's talked about how we might transition that Logan Health space right across from the hospital to crisis access to crisis care at that space. So she's clearly got a vision. You're right, and we're fortunate to have
Can I
her
say
leading
one
that.
more thing? I heard that there was a possibility she was thinking about jumping ship, and I'm like, oh my God, please, dear God, don't let her go, Joe.
No, no. Again, we want to give her the tools and room to move towards her vision for the behavioral health program. Yeah.
Other questions for Joe? Okay, a motion about the changes to the org chart. Motion by Carol. Second by Jimmy to accept the changes to the org chart. All in favor? Looks unanimous with Len out of the room.
And while I'm here, can we confirm a health committee meeting for January?
When
I have the 23rd afternoon open. Oh, that's right. The 27th afternoon,
That Monday? 27th?
or this Thursday. I don't have nothing for council this Thursday. Unless you guys have something you guys need to discuss. But right now I have no agenda requests.
AT&I.
I got the 28th. Oh, the 30th afternoon, or the 21st afternoon. On Tuesday, when we get back from Martin Luther King holiday. I can do the 21st afternoon. Joe?
In Helena on the 21st.
Okay.
The 20. Yeah.
Looks like Thursday.
Thursday, not this Thursday, I'm not ready for this.
No, Tom won't be, we can do the 30th afternoon. You'll be gone. What about the 29th, Wednesday? Oh. Yep, sorry, 16th on Thursday. Just- Third, February 3rd, the afternoon. It's on a Monday. It'll be after the chairman's meeting.
February 3rd. Okay. Put it on the calendar. Oh.
Got it.
We got Carrie and Whisper and
Right now, all we have is Rich,
Rick.
and I got Shannon Claremont on Zoom. They got two of them so far.
Hey, Rich, did you rub in that Bobcat loss to Joe Dirlo out there?
Oh, I forgot.
I said, Martin laid him open, you could rub some salt in that wound or something.
Still the only Montana school with 2 championships, so.
we're waiting for Carrie, are we?
Carrie, you can go ahead and screen share from your computer.
Thanks, Jen. I'm actually not at my computer. I'm on my phone.
Okay,
I
I
might
will
have
share right now.
Okay, perfect. I might have to hop off real quick and take my son to the ER. He's doing okay right now, but might have appendicitis, so I might have to leave randomly. Are we still shooting for 11:15 or are we looking at 11? I can let other folks know.
If you can have them start logging on, you guys are just a little bit early right now.
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and let him know.
Shannon is already on though.
Shannon is on, Carrie. I'd like executive.
We will go out of regular into executive. We have a contract and resolution to hire Mr. Boster. Is it Boster?
Foster.
Boster.
Yes.
Motion by James. Second by Danielle. All in favor? Unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you. Now to Brian. And you want executive, Brian? We'll go out of regular back into executive.